Hey everyone, I'm Jen. Not sure where this video is going to go, and I may not even upload it or publish it, but I wanted to talk about people. Um, my former father-in-law is on his last breaths. He was put in hospice care last week, and I spoke to and with him, but he was not able to verbalize back, but I could hear him breathing. And you know, it just makes me think about how every family, every person seems to label, boom, because you did this, now you're a bad man. Because you did this, like me, I was a goody two shoes, and I worked hard at being a goody two shoes, and but I'm not all good, good, whatever that is. They're things that are deemed bad. And so actually for my in-law family, I was and maybe still am deemed bad. And so I want to talk about this because there are things that people do and that people be because they think it's the right thing for them, And just as a background, my former husband, his family, his dad just left when he was, I don't know, maybe around 12, and nothing was said of his leaving, not by his father, not by his mother. His mother, I talked about it with her, said, no, father left, so it's up to him to tell the son. Well, 9 or so months later, the mother never said anything. I guess she has her reasons. It's just, I feel for my former husband, because that 12-year-old boy knew he couldn't talk to his mommy. His mommy was, but you can't deem her as bad either, because with the father leaving, all of a sudden she had to scramble and find work, and she found work and was never around for the boys. So she was never around for the boys, by her telling me the story, but also the boys, because of the actions of the father. So, at a certain point, the mother was looked at as a bad mother for not being around for the boys, but she was forced to until funds did come in, and as my former husband said, she never asked for any adjustments over the years, and she did the best she could. And my former husband grew up as a sad, very angry child, and then when the father did come 9 months later, there was a new wife and a new baby. And so now the father and the new wife became the bad ones. And so when I met my husband at age 17, there was minimal contact with his dad unless he came to visit. Then he came to visit and took his son out for a very expensive meal at a, fancy restaurants. And so, yeah, that's the kind of father or parent my former husband wanted to be. The one who had the money and could just treat everybody to everything. And my former husband's done a really good job of doing that with his children and extended family members. I don't know how my former husband is on the day-to-day, but his father was not there in the day-to-day either. So, I don't know who my former husband is now. I divorced him 20 years ago, so he's like me, most likely a very different person. I do know that over time, my girls were taken care of, and our children are have positive influences from him. I know I'm going round and round. It's just, I'm going to miss his father. Yeah, 2001. So for almost 20 years, family members were in a way forced to decide which side to pick. I, on the other hand, was like, we can still be a family, but it wasn't made possible for them to do that. So I'm kind of mourning him twice. I did see him here and there, but and I did see his second wife here and there. One of the main times was when I memories with her is the song. It's a woo-woo song. Come on, Eileen, da 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 da. And you know, they had estranged themselves from me, but I decided to call her the second day. The song kept playing in my head, and I don't even today I don't listen to the radio, so there's not a way for the song to have inadvertently come to me. Anyhow, it turns out that she was put in the emergency room and stayed in the hospital. So she was put in the emergency room the day I heard the song, and then the day I called her, she's like, Jennifer, how did you know I was in the hospital? So anyhow, I've got some rambling thoughts. It's just no one's a good guy, no one's a bad guy. She thanked me when my father-in-law's father died. I welcomed them to stay in our home for the funeral. They traveled from Colorado, and we lived in the DC area at the time. And later she said, you know, you're the first member of the family who welcomed us. And they had been married for a long time. Yeah, they had been married for a long time, and for the rest of the family to not welcome them, and especially their 3 children, was just so strange to me. And this is the part where I'm the bad guy in their family. This is before children. My husband did have anger issues, and we went to therapy as a couple, but also him privately, and he wrote me letters of his anguish, and a couple of his letters was even in his own blood. And there were lots of issues, and it stemmed from, I'm sure not all, but some of it stemmed from his father leaving without ever saying goodbye. Now, I personally had thought that his father did say goodbye, but the child's mind of my former husband didn't remember. And later, it turns out the father truly never did say goodbye. He did just leave. But how that conversation came to pass was my in-laws invited us to, let me see, I did have my firstborn. She was just a little baby. But we all went to a joint vacation, and my husband at the time and I agreed that he needed to talk to his father because, you know, him writing a letter to blood kind of freaked me out. And so he was going to talk to his father. Well, the whole vacation came and went, never talked to his father. And I knew what I was coming back home to, a very depressed and at times volatile person. So it was in my best interest as well to get him. But I really loved, and I still have love for my former husband, and I wanted his little boy self to be healed, you know. So I became the jerk, but I did it out of love. And that last day of the family vacation, we were all at the table, and excuse me, I started talking to my husband. I just kept looking down at whatever. I think we were playing a board game or something, And I said, I really think David needs to talk to his father. And I don't even know how it all went down, but I just kept talking. People would ask questions. I don't know if my former husband was there or not, but certainly his half-siblings were there. And I said, it's important because he's hurting and he doesn't know why his father left him without saying goodbye. And it still hurts him today, and we need to figure this out. Well, it turns out that my in-laws were never honest with their children, that he was still a married man when supposedly had multiple mistresses, but this one he got pregnant, and he divorced my husband's mother and then married the second wife. And anyhow, I became the bad person because I put it out there. But what it did is it forced the father-son, my former husband, and my father-in-law to talk. And on the drive home, it was a great, my husband shared with me that he was so relieved because he finally had his daddy back all the way, you know. And his father said he didn't know what to say, so he didn't say anything, and he apologized for being a coward about it. And that took such a big man for him to do that. And so my husband has his father, has his stepmother, has his half-siblings in his life as family. There was so much hatred with his scripted by his mother, or just shared by his mother, but that had helped shape his life. And with the bad behavior by me, it was a catalyst for doing that. So was the father bad for having affairs? Who knows what kind of trouble the marriage was in, you know? Not that that's an excuse, but is what kind of wife was his first wife to him? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that his second wife, when he broke his leg in a skiing accident, I saw his second wife take care of him. I'll just put it this way, she was the best person to be there for him. She loved him and took care of him and truly cared about him and was proactive. And proactive love is a precious gift. So, you know, the woman who was a mistress, even from her point of, her story is different because they were separated, although that's not the story presented legally or by the you know, by his mother. What I'm trying to say is there's no bad guy and there's no good guy. We're each filled with actions that are deemed bad or good by others. Was I a bad person for talking about family secrets so that my husband could get healed? It depends whom you ask. Are people having affairs good guy or bad guy? It depends whom you ask. Ignoring children from another marriage, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Depends whom you ask. I ask of you, whoever's listening, look in your heart. We do not know the reasons, what caused people to do or say things. It pains me that I pained the children in being the catalyst for helping my husband, but he never wrote any letters like that with his blood anymore. it was a good thing for me and for his father and for himself. And it was a fork in the road, and this man is a good man. He's on his last breaths. My best memories of my my youngest daughter's graduation, we were on a cruise ship, and they sang they did the Macarena, and I just recently did the Macarena for you all. And he had Parkinson's, and that was one of his exercises, and he perked up, and he was able to do that dance. So there I am, bebopping with him, and that's my fun memory. I have good memories. Of course, there are bad memories all over the place with everybody that is in our lives. But people, please take the good and just leave the bad. Enjoy the good. I love you. And yes, we are eternal beings. That said, I'm going to miss his physical form. And I love you. May I see you in physical form as well. There's my Nelson kitty. All right. I know. Love you all.